actually making this video pertaining to a comment that was on one of my other videos. And so what I want to talk about is what I describe as the abyss. That place where the consciousness enters into a state of being totally lost, totally disconnected, hopeless, and essentially feeling like one's life has no value. And I can only accurately speak about this because I've traveled the path. And the ironic thing is, many individuals will look at the external, and we have to remember that whether it is our actual container, our body, that which is built around the true source of ourself, or that which is a projection, meaning the outside world, what we understand as our external reality, is temporary. It is not a permanent state. And this is really the most important key to unraveling or finding your way out of the labyrinth of what I call the abyss. It's that state where, in modern terms, we might call it being suicidal, wanting to end one's life, wanting to give up on the journey of this lifetime. So there's a few things that I want to delve into. And the comment that I made was really about the understanding of the value of the roots running deep in the darkness of the soil. So I wanted to expand on that. And what I mean by this is that a tree's roots extend deeper and deeper and deeper into the darkness and the soil of the earth, reaching in all directions to seek out water, being one of the elements that is life-giving to the tree. But if anybody has ever gone into a cave or gone into the ground, there is such a mystery and fear of that darkness, that suffocation almost, and the isolation of that darkness of the earth that the roots must push through. And the other comment that I made was that the deepness of the root is directly correlated to the height and the beauty and the expansion of the tree in the opposite end of the spectrum. So why am I bringing all of this up? Why am I using that metaphor? Because I have walked the path myself, and I have spoken of this in other videos, but I'm going to bring it up again. It was a year and a half of my life where I was extremely ill. I could not swallow, I could not use my hands, I couldn't walk, I was down to 80 pounds. I was in the hospital going through something that was so terrible and so immense and so scary. It was the most terrifying energetically in a human body that I've ever felt. And I was alone doing this. I didn't, there was one person in the hospital that came to visit me, not one. And so at my lowest point, and it wasn't because I wasn't a good person or anything like that, it was just the circumstances. And to go through this year and a half, to be so weak, to be so frail, to actually also see my own body become so ugly, just skeleton, I was very thin and frail, and my hair was falling out, and of course my eyes were, I was just dying essentially, and drooling all over myself every day because I couldn't swallow, I couldn't eat food. And there was a point in every day where I wanted my life to end so badly. Sorry, that's my dog. I wanted my life to end so badly that I would call the local suicide hotline. It sounds funny, but I just needed to speak to somebody. I just needed to have another voice on the end of the phone. But it wasn't, and because I was so weak and just laying in bed and there was no purpose to my life and I couldn't understand, it wasn't a cry for help. Nobody was listening, in the sense of I wasn't acting out this ideology of suicide or ending my existence because I wanted attention. There was nobody that was paying attention, so it wouldn't have mattered. It was truly a conversation with my own psyche that I couldn't handle the weight of the pain, of the terror, of the confusion, and the fact that my body was not functioning and I had no control. And so why I wanted to bring this up in the video is that the way that I maneuvered through this and came to this understanding is that a lot of my time previous to this incident and after, many years after, was seeking the light outside myself. I was always seeking to be saved. I was always seeking to feel validation, to feel love, to feel that energy of God or the Creator or the purpose on the outside in my external reality. And this is why the comment hit me so hard, is that I knew in an instant the solution. The solution is to become your own light. No matter where you are, no matter how uncomfortable the mirror of humanity is, because we have to remember that humans are a very young species. We are not in balance with the planet. We are completely out of balance with the planet. And with that imbalance, you see a lot of darkness, a lot of competition, a lot of distortion. But that's how all things start. All species have an imbalance in their progression. That's how they learn. So the message is, seek not to your external reality to find grace. Pull yourself back again and again and again to that which is inside of you. If there is something beautiful and purposeful that you are, be that. And you can find, even in the darkest places, you can find those moments where everything and every way that you are interacting with the world is beautiful. Every time I rescue a dragonfly out of my pool, or a butterfly, or I put something back in place. I was also cleaning my house this morning, and there had been a windstorm and it was very dirty. And some would look at that and be frustrated in the element of cleaning up the mess. But as I was sweeping and gathering and scrubbing, I was so grateful for the work. So incredibly grateful that the destruction of the windstorm brought me purpose. It gave me the ability to use my body. It gave me something to make bright and beautiful. Because as you clean, just like as you clean your mind. And every time, each and every time I'm cleaning, I envision cleaning out some of that distortion within myself, realigning the little fragments of what it means to be a soul. And I think that is one of the biggest lessons of moving through the darkness, the abyss, that energy of terror and fear and hopelessness and blindness, that blindness and the darkness, that once you come to know it, and once you have moved through it with grace and with courage, you come out the other end and you realize that the world was never here to serve you. You are meant to serve it. And what I mean by that is that you are meant to go through the darkness in isolation, alone, because you are the tree that is growing. You are the tree. You need to become your own light. You need to be your own guide through the darkness. And that can be a difficult message to hear, because oftentimes we then try to expand that outward to mean that we will never have deep connections with others, and that is absolutely not true. Saying that this is a sovereign, solitary journey of the self does not mean that once we are whole, we will not feel connection deeply. And just like the tree that reaches into the earth, so often the strong trees in the forest extend their roots out to those that cannot reach water. And so the message is that the stronger you grow from your own light, the more powerful you are in helping others grow. So that is the journey. That is the beauty. That is the message. And nothing is ever hopeless, no matter how dark it seems, if you keep the faith and if you keep reaching, if you keep asking, if you just get up one more time. Because it was probably in my own story 600 days where I had to say to myself, one more day, one more day, one more day. And each and every day compounded into more of a fierce spirit, more courage, more grace, more wisdom, a totality of understanding that the story needs the chaos. The beauty of all that is that to exist, to experience, to live the depth, the darkness is part of that story. It is part of what is needed to create the texture and the growth. And so we surrender into the darkness in search of our own light.